Hey, how's it going today, guys? It's Mangly. Today, I'm with my good friend Milo, and we're gonna be talking about a topic that I don't think a lot of people talk about. And if it is, it probably it's more on the internet than it is on locally. But so we're gonna be speaking about spirituality today, and this is something that I have just been completely fascinated about ever since I've gone through my own spirituality shift. And when we're speaking about spirituality, I'm not talking about religion. We're talking about what goes inside of you, your soul, your self awareness, your spirit. So this is not about religion, though it can be. But today will be more about how you awaken yourself. And if you're not on it already, what it can do for you, and um, the pros and the cons of it. I'd like to start off with a quote from George Orwell. He said, "An autobiography is only to be trusted when it reveals something disgraceful. A man who gives a good account of himself is probably lying, since any life, when viewed from inside, is simply a series of defeats." So I think that's a powerful quote. It's strange as being a young man experiencing your own defeats and not understanding what to do with them. So you learn to be used by it and not learning to use it. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But first off, I'd like to introduce you guys to Milo. Milo, go ahead and tell us your story.
Yeah, well, first, like to add on what you said, that's what a lot of great leaders have in common, uh, from Bin Laden to Martin Luther King to even Lady Gaga, is their ability to tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just being truthful with who you are, and and actually a lot of notable brands have noticed that as well, and they have made things personal. So they try to sell you a reality experience as opposed to just selling you some robotic type of product to entice you to buy it. But like I was telling you, and I'm gonna try to make the story sound even better. But I come from heavily egotistical place, a dark place, where I'm hanging around, uh, the wrong people, being in gangs and wanting to fight and drinking too young and smoking too young
Mm-hmm.
and just being disrespectful, just because not being conscious of uh, everyone's feelings or how my actions may affect people. It was all about me. But as I got older, and found myself dealing with depression a lot, and still continuing with drugs and substance use, um, I had gotten to a really dark place years after I graduated. And I remember one particular night, because I had become really obsessed with conspiracy theories. And I remember one night I was researching what to do when the NWO hits, New World Order. Yeah, when the New World Order hits. I actually just looked right now. I couldn't find the website that I found, but in the comments, there was something that said unlock your higher consciousness. And when it comes to me, I've always been kind of interested in something new, something shiny.
Uh huh.
And when I saw it, it must have been like an intuition type feeling. Anyway, it may have been one of my you know uh, early spiritual moments proceeding to that journey. But I got this feeling of hope when I saw Unlock Your Higher Consciousness. I had no idea what it was, but when I looked at it, it seemed like a superpower that was attainable for a mortal like myself.
Uh huh.
But so I'm always happy to have a little hope in my back pocket. But a couple nights later, it had to be within the week. I just remember going to a party, and yeah, there were a lot of women there, and it wasn't a lot of dudes. It was probably like five to 20 as far as the ratio goes. So I guess the math is like one to four, I guess. But Yeah, and I was really drunk. I was drinking absinthe with some, I don't know, mixed drinks and things like that. And next thing I know, I remember like waking up exactly where I was, where I passed out, and I had throw up over on me, and I was the only person in the room, which is weird because I was in a college apartment, and I was in someone's place, and
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty filled when I before I passed out. When I woke up, no one was there,
Mm.
and I remember trying to clean up the rest of the throw up, and I went to the public bathroom and I laid down in there, and I think I might have been crying. I'm not really sure about that, but I think I was, and I think I was hopping on Facebook, typing in a bunch of drunk stuff, and
Uh-huh.
I was just stumbling, waiting for my friend to come back. And then, after he took me home and I woke up, I felt great. And I'm pretty sure the first thing I did, even though I probably still feel a little buzz, was I started researching info on higher consciousness, and it led me to this mysticism site. And I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up for y'all. But I instantly just like read through it. It was a lot to read. It was actually more than I expected, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care because this was a lot of new information, and it didn't seem like they were trying to sell me anything. It seemed like that I could do it,
Yeah.
something that I could implement day one, and
Mm-hmm.
I did, and when I do offer this website, I advise people to check it out because they offer so many different type of techniques. But yeah, it started with the whole meditation process, and I heard about it before, but only in passing. I never practiced anything like that. Didn't know anyone who did anything like that. I mean, like our meditation was just getting high. That was about it. But yeah, so when I heard about this experience, I was really interested to try. Man, it was so honestly, and I knew it wasn't going to cost me a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started trying that, and that's what led me on my journey.
Mm. So how long have you been conscious? We would say switching to the conscious side.
I say this was I say we're going on 4 years now. I think this was like late 2012, early 2013. Pretty sure.
Mm. Wow, that's powerful. Uh, what has been like the pros for you in going through this shift for you?
Whew. The pros and cons. I think you will find that it's kind of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the pros for me is to realize what's what's been hurting me. I think I'm able to notice some of the things that I do that slow me down, that aren't serving me, and I think uh, defining that is what's helping me grow now. I think at a rapid rate. Like I don't feel too stagnant because I'm able to notice what isn't working for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my intuition has strengthened because now it's like guiding me in in directions where my logic has to catch up with it. Like I'm not just following logic, and I'm not following the doubt, and I'm not allowing a doubt to limit me. But so one of the first things that I do notice is that that it does lead me in those directions, and also um, I find that there's more clarity and understanding of the little things, and just starting to realize the beauty of of nature. And when I say nature, I just mean everything that just happens
Mm-hmm.
naturally. I mean the grass blowing, the birds, constantly on the clock, and the trees growing until just being able to appreciate those little things that are not necessarily made by man, because I used to chase a lot of those man-made products and ideologies, and so that's definitely a part of it.
Wow, that was powerful. For me, when I went through it, it gave me something that didn't I wasn't fully aware of at first, and that is learning to love peace. You know, I was always on either one side of the coin. You know, it was either happy or sad, and I never understood being in between of it. You know,
Mhm.
and in between of it was just allowing me to become stoic and find peace, knowing that I can have both sides of them where they don't hurt me, and I can just be in the middle. And I get moments where I can be super happy on the happy end, or I can be on the very sad end, the depressed end. And what it going through a conscious lifestyle has taught me how to bounce back a lot faster, move forward with my life a lot easier, and like what you were saying, trust your intuition a lot more. Making
Mhm.
it realign with your logic. I love the way you said that. That's perfect. That's really reaffirming to hear, because I know when I was when my shift started happening, that was the first thing I did. I was, I wasn't aware of it at that time, but the next chapters of my life were just trying to get everything back in order. From being disordered.
Mhm.
So rebuilding, rebuilding your life to where to me it's where it needs to be, because we've just like you talk about how we fall off our trails. We do fall off our trails, and we put ourselves in big holes, and the right people aren't there to help you bounce back. We don't have Oprahs in our communities. We don't
Yeah.
have motivational speakers or spiritual speakers in our community. And if we do, they have a bit of an ego in them too, to where it's not really attractive to accept.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Um, like, cause our community leaders, every Sunday they have a tray going around, asking for money. Now,
mm-hmm.
I don't think there's necessarily wrong with it, but I don't really know how that message gets across to everyone. And you got a lot of people resenting pastors and things like that because they come in poor and they leave even, with even more needs. They leave even more poor, and the person they go to for help, seems to leave out a bit richer. So yeah, it'll be quite powerful to have that type of community where there are a lot of spiritual leaders there who just seems to give from I guess an everlasting basket of some sort.
Yeah, where you don't feel that sense of someone trying to take advantage of you, and
Hmm.
it's pure. It's just pure good, where they're just trying to help you out.
Hmm.
I know when I was younger, my ego was so strong. Even those who were pure and that were trying to help me out, my ego wouldn't allow it to come through. You
Yeah.
know, and they always say that if you had heard certain things or learned certain things younger, things would have been better. I like to disagree with that, because I'm like, at that time I wasn't listening to nobody.
Yeah.
You know, the way I developed myself was to where my ego got the best of me, and it dictated wherever my life was gonna go. And because of that, it actually helped me appreciate this shift of consciousness. So it's looking back at it, it was I didn't really I don't feel proud about it, but I'm proud that it happened, so that I can become aware of this shift and this conscious living, and appreciate it so much, which I do now, as it to me is a never-ending journey.
Hmm.
And what I'm speaking about is this your path to your true enlightenment.
Yeah.
And I'll explain how I got to it. So like you, I was getting ready to hit my. I mean, I was already at rock bottom. I was taking advantage of my girlfriend. Was taking advantage of my sisters, my siblings. I was broke. I was, there's no future for me. I was
Hmm.
just like a leech, just leeching everything. I was not helping anybody but myself, and that's all I cared about was myself.
Mm-hmm.
and it got to a point to where you know it was its own self destruction. It got to a point where I'm like, man, I can't live like this anymore. Something needs to stop, either me or something else. And I remember watching Oprah one day, and she was promoting a book called New Earth. I don't know why it was just speaking to me so much. The tagline said "Awaken to your life's purpose," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there going, man, I gotta get that book. It's gonna help me awaken to my life's purpose. Complete opposite though. The funny thing is, there's certain things that happen to us. A mistake that's as beneficial to us, like how you said uh, you found that website, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, my sister had bought the book, for herself, and with my old unconscious self, I went and stole that book from her and read it, and it was the best thing that my consciousness ever did for me to help me shift. And I read it, and it was complete opposite. It was complete opposite of what I had in mind of what it meant. Like I thought it was gonna give me like a guideline of how to be successful. It was completely opposite. The book had a very distinctive quote that really like set off the shift. In there, he talked about sinning. Right? He says
Mm-hmm.
he used the analogy of an a marksman, an archer. He said to sin is to miss the point, to miss the target, and to go deeper, looking at yourself individually, to sin is to miss the point of life, to miss the point of existing.
Uh,
And I don't know, it just hit me so hard. I'm like, whoa, 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 and it was the right words at the right time. So I'm like, damn, you're missing the point of your life. And I'm like, okay, let's keep on reading. And then he talks about being conscious, understanding that if you're gonna keep on sinning, which he means by missing the point of life, then you'll never get the chance to experience the miracle. And then the miracle is for you to wake up and see who you really are, and to transform yourself to you know who you need to be. And from that point on, I I bootlegged the Power of Now from that author, Eckhart Tolle.
mm,
uh, just reading the first couple of chapters was just blowing my mind. It was feeding my shift right then and like it was just epiphanies after epiphanies after epiphanies, and it was just it was something I was not prepared for, but I definitely needed it that time to help me bounce back from my unconscious self to prepare me to to live a conscious life. And you know I've been consciously living now for almost let's say I'm 29, about to hit 30, about 9 years now. It happened to me when I was 21.
nice.
Nine years now. The first 4 years were just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
They were miserable because what the book did was it bred self awareness within me, and I started seeing. I started hearing and becoming aware of all the noise in my life.
Yeah.
You know, you spoke about it earlier, talking about you know you being aware of your noises in your life too, and just when certain things aren't working for you, and you know where the problem is now, instead of it being just a question mark. And when you said that was exactly my struggle with this consciousness living. And the funny thing is, I couldn't go back to being unconscious. I remember there were days where I was like, man, I can't deal with this anymore. This book was a mistake. This thing should have never happened to me. Like
Yeah.
I can't deal with this. There's too much. There's too much noise. I'm seeing everything now. It's like you're being you're put to justice and to light, man. Everything that you're doing wrong. Like lies were even heavier now. When I lied, it was really heavy, and it sit in me for days, and I feel so terrible. Like they're worse than hangovers.
Yeah. They
It's,
really are.
yeah, and it drove me miserable, and I'd hear my thoughts so clearly. I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up! I need my mind to shut up. there's so much noise. I couldn't sleep at night, and I'm like, wow, I couldn't get through it. But I realized what was happening was I was building my spiritual muscle. I was
Yeah.
struggling because I carried so much unconsciousness weight that my spiritual muscle was it was in the gym, and it was in the gym for years before I was able to be strong enough to be able to purge all those emotions. I don't know if that's been similar towards your journey right now too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm kind of at that point where I'm about to have another breakthrough. I'm at the 4 year moment, but like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, like if I could go back to like when I first started reading from this website, which is called Mystic Warrior, mysticwarrior.us. I believe this is it. I'm looking at it right now. I
Okay.
think this is the site. But I was reading through it, and I was so caught up with all this, all this would seem to be so much superpowers is just just waiting for me to unlock within myself, and I was really excited, and I was reading through it, and I skipped over this. I didn't necessarily skip over it, but I read through it and just didn't think much of it because it was like Dark Night of the Soul. That's what they called it. It was called a Dark Night of the Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Read through it, whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. Let me get back to the superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recall, like somewhere in my spirituality, I remember just being so depressed because I went back to reading up on, the new world order things and FEMA camps, and this is going to be like Germany, and this country is going to be ruled by a leader that everyone's going to buy into, and he's going to screw everyone over eventually. And then I was like, man, wow, what I'm feeling is a terrible kind of depression, man. Why am I feeling like this bad? I feel extremely low. I had some positive highs. I had some big highs. I was doing things that I've never done before. I was meditating by the creeks and the rivers, and I was meditating for hours. And now here I am, and I feel betrayed. But then I was like, hold up, I remember this somewhere, and it
Mm-hmm.
was the Dark Night of the Soul. And I went back and looked it up. I typed in Google Dark Night of the Soul, and sure enough, what popped up was it brought me back to this website, and I read up on it, and that's what stopped me from quitting because it was basically saying like this was going to happen. This is letting you know that you're having some type of breakthrough, whatever, and you're meant to grow from that.
Yes. Yes.
And I just gotta tell people like this type of pain, this type of depression is much different from the unconscious type, man. Like this one, it just seems like everything is magnified, man. It's like everything is coming full circle. Once you start really facing things for what they really are, for what you define them as, they are. The discomfort is so powerful that you have no choice but to do something about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you won't be able to sleep. You won't be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose yourself. So this like forces you to lose yourself, lose your grip on things, just so you can get a stronger grip and a stronger sense of self. Not so much being, heavy on the ego, but to get a clear understanding of who you are and not who you pretend to be, and not these, false roles that we assume just to fit in. It forced you to be honest
Yeah.
because your vulnerabilities was just like seeping through you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just really have to stress that enough because it was at one point where I just thought that like you said, that I had made a terrible mistake. I was unlocking doors that I probably shouldn't have, man.
Yeah.
But it really did something to me. It's like I found that crazy that will inevitably lead me to being, the type of successful person I would want to be because I just think that's a requirement. It's kind of like when you're really sick and in order to get rid of it you just sweat a lot or you throw up a lot, and that's what was coming. Like I was just getting rid of a lot of that toxic the toxic way of living. And it just seems like from that point on, I just kept getting rid of toxic things. I kept getting rid of toxic people and toxic food and toxic music and just toxic activities and the way
Yeah.
I treat people. Like all that just started going with it, and now it's like you said, like if I chose to lie or if I chose to do something that's a bit shady,
Hmm.
it would eat at me. It would eat at me so bad that it just would have been much better to not do it at all,
Yeah.
to ever get to that point.
Yeah. It's something that I can't explain. This is everything that we're talking about is something that it's only felt.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
we're talking about this, and if you're trying to if you're trying to make sense of it with your thoughts and your mind, it's not gonna make any sense at all. Too,
No.
if you're aligned with what we're speaking about, you're gonna feel it. But for the most part, it's just gonna be a question mark for you. And I got advice to you guys too, if you guys are listening. If it's getting too weird, I would advise you guys to just turn it off and listen to it another day, because these kind of conversations are made for those who are ready for it. And if you're not ready for it, this might trip you out. But I like to share a quote that was one of my epiphanies that really helped me with the shift. This is from The Power of Now. It says, thinking has become a disease. Diseases happen when things get out of balance. For example, there's nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body. But when this process continues in disregard of the total organisms, cells proliferate and we have a disease.
Mm.
The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly, you usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over. I remember reading that for the first time, just going, "Oh my gosh, this is like my whole body was tingling, and I was just in euphoria with my consciousness, being able to become aware of that falseness in me. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mind has been living my whole majority of my life. I'm like, man, I haven't been using it. I've been using my mind that much. It's been using me,
Yeah.
and it's done more destruction than good for me. More bad than good for me. And only when I was able to become aware of them and then slowly just fix one problem at a time, did things started really opening up for me. Like,
Yeah.
family members are back in my life, which I find
Mm.
just fantastic. It just I find unbelievable. Just quickly, I destroyed my relationship with my father, with my siblings, and I used to be an abusive brother. I used to beat my siblings all the time. If I didn't get it my way, I'd force my hand. I'd
Yeah.
force it my way, and me looking back at it, I'm very, embarrassed about it,
Yeah.
about who I am, who I used to be,
Relatable.
and yeah, and just not being able to come to peace with that, and to have I'm happy to have my sisters in my life, and the love is back. It's better than it was before, where before my sisters couldn't even stand the sight of me. Just me breathing was enough to spark an argument, or have the room filled with that awkward silence.
Oh boy. Oh my. I know that. And not just from me, but just from like, because that's kind of how a relationship is with my mom and my uncle.
Hmm.
Like it's always intense. Even when the whole family is around, they can feel that bit of awkwardness, that hostility,
Yeah,
because
right.
there's so much pride there, so much ego there, so much uncertainty, so much unconsciousness
Hmm.
there. So yeah, I definitely know what you mean. And again, in regards to like the past, like I do somewhat feel like guilty and disappointed in myself for for who I used to be and how much time I wasted treating people uh unfairly, man. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And even there's a computer term called social engineering. I don't know if you ever heard about that, Milo.
yeah.
Yeah, social engineering. My whole life I've been social engineering. If I can lie to get something, I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna
Hmm.
cheat to get something, I'm gonna do it. If I want this, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find my way of getting it, whether it's legal or illegal. You
Hmm.
know, I'm gonna get it by all means. And uh, my my ego was so it was so it was so all about that. I was competitive with myself with that. When it came to breaking into people's cars, where it was impressing my friends, and I got the wrong. They weren't wrong to me. They were the right friends at that time because no one else would have supported me individually. They were the wrong crowd, but hey, man, those were my homies, man. Those were the people that where there was no love, there they'll give me love to
Yeah.
keep me going. So I appreciate them, even though I paid a price to be around them. I
Hmm.
sure did, an expensive price. I'm still paying it to this day, but because it's developed certain habits that I'm still working on undoing.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of unconsciousness that I'm still trying to pick up, but for the most part, uh, you just learn to just become aware of it and fight each battle slowly, slowly, slowly. Because every time that I was able to make peace or become aware of certain areas of where I'm unconscious, I started seeing new things open up for me, like good things, positive things. You know, I was a I was a I was a college dropout. I was I was making no income. I robbed my girlfriend of like her whole bank account. Robbed my parents of their bank accounts and my sisters. And then making peace with that and confronting it for the demon that used to be. It allowed me to reverse that. And I'm in a spot where I would never dream that I would be in, being able to hold my own, and at the same time being able to help others too. The idea of me being able to donate is just it blows my mind. I don't believe that I deserve anything that I have right now, but
Man, I feel you on that one.
I understand that it's just like it's life's way of just rewarding you for slowly fixing certain parts about you, and trying your best to not relapse because like you said earlier, being around certain people that, especially being around conscious people, oh, that's when it gets heavy for me. I know that if I'm around unconscious people, that helps me exercise my consciousness again. You know,
Yeah.
like I used to have a bad drinking habit, and I knew that I had to. The only way to resolve that part is to be to have less of that in my life. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I had decided that this year I was going to be sober. Preferably for the rest of my life, but so far I've just been sober. A lot of the people that I grew up with, like I told you, man, I hung around the same crowd. So I mean, I got people in jail, I got people dead, and I got people, who are basically alcoholics, but we don't really call them alcoholics anymore because everyone around it just gets fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your drunkards and you do have your drug addicts, and I have a problem with anything that can give me any type of, I want to call it relief, but sometimes I take it too far where it's not relief. Like if I would get a bottle of wine, you know how sometimes those bottles of wine are pretty big,
Yeah.
and I could drink through the whole thing throughout
Yeah, me
the night.
too, man.
So I would do that a lot, and I used to get drunk and smoke a lot, but the way life works, they have a funny way of just taking things away from you. So like I used to Even before and after I went on the spiritual journey, I used to smoke a lot of weed, and it just came a point where, like, one particular day, I was just smoking weed like I always do, and then I thought I was having a heart attack, man, because it just my heart was stopping, and then it started beating like really fast, and I had never experienced that before, and I feel like I couldn't move, and I was in my friend's basement, and like it's an embarrassing thing about it, but I felt so bad that he had to carry me all the way up the steps. He took me outside and called an ambulance. And by the time the ambulance got here, the guys didn't say anything, but I could see it in their eyes. They were looking at me like, yeah, he's just high. But yeah, so and then the next time I smoked, I just wanted to see if it was just the weed. But sure enough, that happened again, and then I started. Then I took a lot of time off, probably like a year or so, and I smoked once again, and the same thing kept happening. And the next year I tried to smoke, and it still wasn't happening. So I was like, you know what, it's just not for me. So life has a funny way of taking away things that you try to hide behind. I think there was really no room to uh, hide behind things with my spiritual journey because it was holding me back. So, when you're trying to grow, one is going to outweigh the other. So the growth started knocking away some of the things that were working against me. Like when I changed my diet back in 2014 to be a vegetarian. Like a lot of things I listened to at the time kept saying that, like eating meat was going to like stunt this type of growth, and eating this and that wasn't going to help me as much. And then I had a vegan girlfriend at the time, and then it was one time I was just eating some chicken, and my mom told me, she was like, yeah, and I got some meat sauce, and I got meat this and meat that, and I just started looking at it, and it was like the first time probably in my life where I just looked at it, and I was just like, damn, this thing used to exist, and this thing was probably, I don't know, just living its life, you know, however it was, and then just got taken away from just so I can consume it. And I don't know, something about me just kind of felt dirty doing it, so I just kind of quit immediately, definitely within that week. And
Wow.
although it was a struggle,
Hmm.
I was just led to do that. And it's like the more you focus on your spirituality, the more you get led, the more you get led to do certain things that kind of hits you pretty vividly uh, before the logic gets to catch up. Like I
Yeah, yeah.
remember, it's like I remember after um, once I started reading this Mystic Warrior stuff, the first thing to pop up after that, I was on Netflix, and The Secret was a thing. Like it was really
Yeah.
popular at the time. I was like, Secret, what's this?
Hmm.
So I went through that, and I was hooked there.
Hmm.
And then that law of attraction, I started looking that up on YouTube, and I couldn't get enough of that. I just started like really overdosing on all that law of attraction information. And then there was this video, also another video on YouTube called I think it was called I Am God, or Three Magic Words, or something like that, Three Powerful Words. And so I started following all of that, and it just started helping me restore faith, because I didn't have faith in the right things. Like I used to believe in Jesus Christ and all this and that because it was passed on to me.
Hmm.
But like after I had my spurts of like being an atheist, I didn't I can identify that what was missing when I was an atheist was I didn't have any faith. So that was the problem. It wasn't necessarily what I was believing in, but it was just like I wasn't believing in anything. And when you don't believe in anything, what do you do?
Yeah, yeah. That's powerful. I,
Yes.
I, I agree so much there. I was an atheist growing up my whole life too, even though my family were shamans. And growing up in that, I burnt out of it because it was every weekend for us, and I'm pretty sure it's like that with most children too who aren't really into their religions. You just
Yeah.
burn out of it, and you actually become distasteful of it, and to naturally find your own religion, is something very unique. And I just remember growing up and I hated God. I hated Jesus because Jesus kept coming
Hmm.
to my door and asking me if we want to join them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't need you right now. And I realized at that time, it, they were supplying me something that I didn't demand yet in my life, you know.
Yeah.
And because of that, I got a bad taste of it. And I'm sure a lot of people did too with Jesus Christ. And then, I finally became conscious. And Eckhart Tolle references Jesus a lot too. And he showed me Jesus in a different way that completely made me respect Christianity or everything about Jesus. At the same time, all the other religions too. I remember reading the passage he talked about Jesus saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And then he explained it, saying, "Carry less things with you, and
Yeah.
you'll be in the kingdom of heaven." And then I got it. It was just in the perfect timing of my life. I was like, "Holy shit! I gotta go and purge all the bullshit that I created for myself." Because
Yeah.
every time I was able to make peace with a certain issue that I was carrying, things got lighter and lighter and lighter, and I started feeling that kingdom of heaven or grace or that peace, and I became addicted to it because I'm like, I always want to feel this because it's an incredible feeling, man. Being just it's what I call the new high. You don't longer need drugs anymore. You're just high off of life.
Pretty much, man.
You know, it's incredible. It's something that I wish everybody could experience. I remember I was hanging out with my friends. We went and bought some cocaine, and I was already going through my consciousness, and I've read that a lot of people who've gone through the conscious shift said that the feeling that you get from it is kind of like cocaine. And I was just curious. I wanted to try it out. So I tried it out, and I was completely disappointed. I saw my friends though; they were like, "Man, it feels great, right?" And I was looking at them, going, "Damn, man, you guys have no idea. You guys don't need this drug to feel this all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
There's a natural source, and it's cleaner, and it's definitely a lot cheaper, and it's there's an unlimited supply of it. But it to me, I mean, from what I've learned from my experience, that it's only given to those who are ready to seek it."
Yeah, absolutely. So we didn't really talk too much about the cons, but
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of one of them. Having all this newfound experience and new insight, and not really having anyone around to share it with because they're not ready, like we weren't ready
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
one point. So we kind of have to, reach out to people like on the internet and different groups like that. But in our personal lives, man, it's kind of lonely not being
Very
able to.
lonely, man. It's
So,
very
yeah.
lonely. That muscle. I think we just learned to build ourselves, man. To to just be okay with the loneliness, and to respect it, you know.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And that's why I inevitably just started writing books, man. At least to try to leave something behind. So if they're not ready for it now, then maybe when I'm gone, or even before I'm gone, somewhere down the road, it'll always be there.
Mm-hmm. I'm completely aligned with exactly what you're saying there. That's how. That's why I've always had that feeling growing up. It was just a feeling, but finally that feeling was able to mature into words, and uh, it explains a lot why we have our creative sides. Like I like to think I'm a victim to my creativity.
Yeah.
I'm a slave to it
Hmm.
because I can't sleep if I don't do it. It has so much control over me. You said that you were in class, you would write, and you wouldn't be able to do what's asked of you of that class. It was the same thing with me. I've always been a music producer, and I'd hear the melodies in my head, and I'd leave class to go make the beat.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
uh, uh,
I,
Go ahead.
oh no, it's like I said, I was in classes, writing books. Teachers throw it away. When I got older, I was in class not paying attention to Spanish, not paying attention to health, whatever. I was in there writing raps.
Mm-hmm.
I was always trying to create something. Like right now, I have a lot of my writings just posted on my wall. I'm sitting at a desk with a bunch of writings, and I asked myself like a couple weeks ago, do I have any prized possessions? And I really don't outside of my writings, man. Because I put a lot of time into it, a lot of consciousness into it. I don't think I've ever been as conscious as I've been staring down the paper, allowing myself to go to these places that I'm trying to create, and that's just when I'm at my best. So it's like I have to create, I have to get these images out into words, the
Yes.
best way I can.
Yes. It is it is something that I still find to this day unique to us too. You know, to those who are who have learned to take their imagination and create something from it. You know,
Yeah.
it's a gift that a lot of us don't understand. For I didn't grow up with a lot too. When I was born in Thailand, we came here. My mom was she was 16, didn't know no English or nothing, and we grew up with trying to adjust to the American lifestyle. My
Hmm.
parents didn't know about they didn't know about prom or the American lifestyle. They had to adjust to it, and we had to make sacrifices to make ends meet. But I was, I remember being in high school. I used to be angry about being poor. I wouldn't be able to do things, and because of that, it bred a lot of imagination. When you don't have much, you imagine a lot of things, and I used to be angry at that, but now I see how beneficial that was for me because it has allowed me to create from nothing.
Yep.
While I'm able to come up with ideas. Why I think that are simple. Other people, they struggle with it because they didn't get that chance to exercise their imaginations or their
Pretty much.
creativities. And
Yeah.
even going through this conscious living, I know when I'm empty with my creativity. I know when I've used up everything in the bottle. I gotta go and refill it. I gotta go get re-inspired. I gotta go and step out of step out of my zone right now. Going like me speaking to you right now, Milo, is filling up my creativity again, filling up my juice.
Same here.
It's it's uh it's something that I would have never been aware of before, not at all. And if people talked about it, it would have went through one ear and out the other. You know.
Yeah, I absolutely, man. Love moments like this because man, the thing about consciousness, man, it's a never ending thing. Like even this very conversation is a result of me finding my higher consciousness because now I don't really like talking about people. And honestly, I mean, I love sports, but I don't really like talking about sports too much, man. And now I just see things differently. Like when I do watch basketball games, as I've said in one of my books that's coming out hopefully next week, is
Mm-hmm.
that when I'm watching a football game and I'm watching a basketball game, all I'm really doing is watching someone at work.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of no different from watching somebody flip a burger. It's just all perspective. I mean, is it exciting? Some people may find flipping burgers to be exciting. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, but that's all it really is. And we put so much stock, we put so much energy and investment into a team that we really actually have no investment in.
Mm-hmm.
Like like you take a guy who likes the Patriots or whatever. Well, we say,
Mm-hmm.
do you own them? Do you have a child or someone on that team? So that's the bit of disconnect that I have now because it's like I've been rooting for a particular team kind of for no reason. I mean, I've been pledging loyalty to them, and the only thing I really like about them is the fact that I just like them. I liked them when I was a child, and that was my only true connection with them. But now my connection's got to be much deeper than that. Like I like to get to the root of everything, which is
Yeah, me
kind of
too.
where yeah that's kind of where a lot of the pain comes from and a lot of the aha also exists. But
Mm-hmm.
so now things have to make sense to me, like the conversations have to make sense. Like if you told me that this podcast was going to be, we were just going to talk about, I don't know, what you did yesterday, even though it was probably interesting, I probably wouldn't be too interested about, you washing laundry or anything like that. I wouldn't want to talk about sports stats or whatever like that.
Yeah,
I'm not making time for that right now. I'm looking to add value because I'm starting to see the bigger picture now, and
yeah,
time is much more precious the further along we go down the road. It's not really meant to be wasted on things that we can't find a deep connection with.
correct, correct. I'm so aligned with that. We when I became aware of time, really really becoming aware of time. I remember the quote that I read from Eckhart Tolle too said that time is only against you when you give it attention, and
Yeah.
that there's no such thing as the past. There's no such thing as the future. All there ever is and ever was this present moment, this now. When you were 7 years old, you were in the now, but this now is moving on. And if you should spend your time thinking about the future or thinking about the past, you lose this now. All that, I mean, this is all there ever is, and and if you ever want to get to anywhere where you want to be, you have to act upon it in this now, because that's where it all happens.
Yeah, I mean it's the only thing that's guaranteed is right now.
Yeah, it sure is. And I've learned my big lessons from not respecting it.
Yeah.
I remember when my balance would go off. I'd lose a little bit of my spirituality. I'd go into too heavy on the business side of my life, or just too heavy chasing my ego's needs. Where because the ego's clever, man. Just when you think you got it on lock, it locks you down in an area that you aren't aware of yet.
Hmm.
Like for me, it's basically having these conversations. I know when I speak too much, my ego's getting in the way. My ego wants to steal this moment from me.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to exercise my consciousness. So, okay, man, I gotta let Milo speak now too, or else you're gonna exercise that part of you that you don't want to exercise. And you know having being able to be aware of those things has has taught me to become really really conscious about your outside, more than the inside.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As a result of some of the information that I was reading and just experience, because I really started. This is a combination of me uh, feeling a little bit bothered by the fact that I would be so passionate about certain things and have no one to talk to
Yeah,
about it, or it would be
that's always
silence.
yeah. That's the worst feeling ever, man.
Oh, I swear it is. And I thought I was crazy thinking that, but it's a terrible feeling to be so passionate about something and just be chopped down with something just like really frivolous.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of that and just not wanting to be the person to speak because I want to be heard all the time, and just want people to listen to what I have to say. But I've gotten into the habit of speaking a lot less and just hearing all the information that comes in. I think that's helped me become more creative, but it also helped me in a conscious sense where I started realizing what people around me were talking about and how it relates to the things that I want to talk about, and what I envision uh, going forward in a community that's been on that's based on growth. And I hear a lot of gossip and a lot of passing on of what's going on in the news, and you see on these television shows a lot of the things that are popular is gossip, and
Yeah.
this false sense of reality they call reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just like really detrimental, and it'd be nice to see more self-help television. So the fact that self-help isn't really on TV, and but you can find it on the internet and things like that, that ought to tell you something, because there isn't a lot of shows built on spirituality. Yeah, they got the little superhero shows and things like that, but
Yeah.
the spiritual aspect is more realistic. It's something that you can grab onto. Like, it's part fantasy and part reality, because you can go wherever you want to go if your mind and spirit is attached to it. So I
Hmm.
would like to see more of that. But I've become a better listener, because now I just want to listen, to hear, to take it all in, because you can learn from anybody, and one little sentence
Hmm.
can pave the way for so much. I mean, I remember my cousin. She's like 5 now, but she had to be like 3 or 4 when she said it. We was outside in the driveway, and I think I was about to do some push-ups or something, and she just told me something pretty simple that I kind of knew, but to hear it from a 4-year old, that was pretty powerful. And she just said, "Don't think, just do." And
Mm.
I thought that was pretty powerful for like what I was going through.
Hmm.
And sometimes we do outthink ourselves when it comes to everyday task.
Yeah, right. I'm a victim of that. That's I think that's gonna be my journey all the way to the end, which is to learn to really tame my mind. I know that I've gotten to where it's manageable, but it's not where I want it to be.
Mm.
Where I'm able to, I'll use language that a teenager will understand. All right, enlightenment from a teenager's perspective will be being able to say "fuck it, man." You know,
Hmm.
fuck it. It won't hurt anymore. That's a teenager's analogy of it. From wisdom, it is just being able to be you without feeling any consequences that would hurt you in the end. You know,
Pretty much.
and I I agree with you so much with what you're saying with listening. When someone else, if you can be in a place of wisdom to where you can listen to someone and have them share. For example, you said that one sentence hit you hard. I was just talking to one of my one of the guys that I'm really close to now at my nonprofit, and he was telling me, man, we're having the same conversation like this, and he said he was reading the title of this book, and it it shifted everything for him, and for him to say it to me completely, you gave me an epiphany, and what he said was, he goes, man, this title, man, it said, relax, you're gonna die.
Hmm.
And he said for him that helped him, calm all the noise for him. It's like, yeah, you're right, we're all gonna die. Why am I overstressing things? Why am I overthinking things? All of our destination is gonna be the same, but what you're doing on that destination is gonna be different. It's gonna be what defines you.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you know, your tendencies to, whether it be procrastinating. I know mine. I have a big tendency in procrastinating. Whether some people see it or don't. For me, it's just procrastinating with my life, where I know my abilities can take me, but something unconsciously keeps coming on the way that I just can't seem to tackle, and that I'm not prepared for, because I feel like if if I deserved what I felt that was for me, then it should have happened already. But it's
Yeah.
not, because I'm underdeveloped. There's something that I haven't done yet to actually get it. And if I do get it, it's gonna be short lived.
Hmm.
I like talking about money, because that's always been a clear analogy for me. If I wanted to be a millionaire, then I would have been there already. And if someone gave me $1 million, it wouldn't stay with me long. It would leave me, because I don't know how to handle $1 million. I'm still in the okay. I handle I know how to handle pennies. I know how to handle dollars. I know how to handle hundreds. thousands, but I haven't gotten to where I can own being a thousandaire, being 100,000aire, and then being a millionaire and all that. I'm
Yeah,
not there yet. I have to work with what I have right now, because if I can't own the pennies, then don't even expect to own the millions.
yeah,
And same thing with life. If I want the if I want the good life, then I gotta start with fixing the 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 bottom, the foundations. If you got the wrong foundation, forget it, man. Nothing's holding up.
yeah. You got to start with the root, man. And what I noticed with a lot of these commercials and advertisements, they try to sell you a lot of exterior things. They never really try to sell you, anything internal because you know what? It's you can't really make too much money off of it. Yeah, you got the yoga, yeah, you got the books,
Mm-hmm.
but that's about it, man. It's you pick the right type of yoga, you pick the right type of books, and it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. But when you got this makeup, it's always going to be some new type of makeup. It's always going to be some new type of clothes, a new type of
Mm-hmm.
hairstyle, the new type of phone, so they always try to sell you on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a fleeting thing because once you get this, there's a new one coming out next year. Now you got to have that one, or you don't feel as significant. So you got to start much deeper than the skin
Yeah.
and let that pave the way because I used to feel, really insignificant when I couldn't get all the new shoes and all the new things and all my friends did or whatever. It made me feel miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I would kind of stress my mom out to the point where, like she kind of had to give me that or I wasn't a friend of hers,
Yeah.
when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, part of the spiritual process is knowing that a lot of this shit just does not matter. It's not what's going to make you happy, man. You got a lot of unhappy people who in the public eye are successful, and you got a lot of happy people who in the public eye doesn't really have much. Like if someone was put in that position, they'd feel miserable. But uh,
Yes.
you've seen it time and time again that less can actually be more. It depends on what you got going uh, on the inside, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've learned that. Uh, whenever I do my speeches, I love bringing out this quote, this sentence this idea that I got from YouTube. I was watching this guy. He was talking about the 20/80 rule, the Pareto rule, and it didn't hit nobody but me. But he said, 80% of people you meet in your life are gonna be non-beneficial towards you, and then there's gonna be that 20% that are gonna be beneficial towards you. And if you don't become aware of that quick, then you know you're gonna be part of that 80%,
Yeah.
and you're always gonna be part of that 80%. You're gonna be part of that 80% of life that didn't get life, you know. And after after being able to really take that in, have those ideas that sit in you, that they plant a seed in you, and goes to what you're saying. It becomes a gift that keeps on giving.
Hmm.
Man, uh, it it transforms you so much that even those around you won't they won't even recognize you anymore. Um, Going back to what you're saying about my point with this is you talking about being able to understand to have less. I realize that 80% of the things that I have are garbage. It means nothing to me. I only need the 20% of the stuff in my life.
Yeah.
You know, in the I can look in my room right now. I can look at I my in my room the 20% that are probably beneficial towards me are part of my books. 80% of this stuff waste. I don't even need it. I probably wasted more money buying them, and they haven't served me much.
Yeah.
And having less too. I found out that when I have the right friends around me, I was able to do more. I was able to push myself further, and that was the hardest thing for me because I'm pretty sure you feel this way too. Growing up with, we grew up with the wrong crowd, right?
Yeah.
Let me say it right. We grew up with the crowd that was given to us.
Yeah. Better.
Yeah, we were given the crowd that was given to us, and we're attached to them because you know why? They helped us develop us to become who we needed to be to overcome those times. When we're going through dark times, those people helped us, and we feel this connection with them. There's some of my friends that I know I can't hang out with them anymore because they're not doing good anymore. They'll bring me
Hmm.
back down, but I still respect them to death because they got me through that dark time, that hump, while no one else cared. So you owe them that. You feel like you owe them that. And then when I found new people that really were trying to support me in what I was doing, it was weird because that's something that I didn't feel before. This is like
Hmm.
foreign emotions and foreign feelings. Just saying, what, you really want to help me? That's kind of strange. Are you gonna try to take advantage of me or something? Because we're just so conditioned to thinking people just want to take advantage of you.
Hmm.
That these people really want to help you. Like, oh, you want to. I you know I'm very thankful to be around with my new support group. Whenever I give them ideas, they get it. They don't down talk me. They go, they help me develop it. To have friends who I mean, to have a support group that doesn't brush away your ideas but help you develop them.
That's powerful.
You know, that's something that I'd never expect to have in my life because even my own family don't do that. You
Yeah.
know, I was getting ready for a speech for my college, right? And I gave it to my girlfriend and my mom, and they told me that's the stupidest thing. No one's gonna listen to you. Don't even talk about those subjects. And I remember just being shot down from that. Right? I'm like, I think they're right. I think I made a mistake. I shouldn't talk about these ideas I'm gonna give out. The next morning, I gave out. I almost walked away from it, but I said, I already told myself I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I did. It was a whole complete different reaction. I got I got the best crowd that I could have asked for. They sat with me the whole way. They enjoyed everything that I talked about. Especially speaking about this too. And I learned that, wow, I got to be around people who actually help me develop these ideas because I remember right after that I had talked to one of my greatest. I call him my big brother, man. His name is Jeff Solano. He's been on my side the whole way, telling me, hey, if you got those ideas you want to tell to help people out, you do it, man. Even though you're at work right now, I'll let you go do it. Go do it.
Yeah.
He wanted me to develop because he saw something bigger in me, and I understand that my ego every now and then gets in the way and says that, yeah, you don't see what these people are doing for you. You know, slow down,
Mhm.
slow down, come back and appreciate those little things because they're not out there. They're not supplied to you in a heavy quantity. They're very little.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And when it comes to things like what you wrote uh, for your speech,
Mm,
at one point, I'm guessing you were probably sold on it, but I'm sure somewhat of your intuition led you to writing that, and then when you start sharing it with people, you got a little bit of doubt that came from it.
correct.
But like I'm trying to write in one of these books that I'm finishing up on is that these visions, they're your visions. They were given to you, so no one can be fully invested or can fully see your vision like you can. So there's got to be those times where,
Amen.
yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
Speak
So
up.
this has got to be those times where you have the final say, and really, I mean, uh, you gotta say fuck it, because I mean they weren't in the lab, they weren't in your mind when you were writing it. They don't know how the delivery is is going to be. They don't really know how you're going to be received. They didn't envision that like you did. They're just they're just hearing you speak, or they're just just reading the paper. But
Yeah.
no one can make it. No one can give it life uh like you can. And I've been proven wrong when I had to doubt so many times that when I actually just put it out there and just in spite of it, that I was well received because it just came from me. It came from the pit of me. It didn't come from me trying to give people what they want. It comes from just putting out what I can feel, what I know. It's my vision, and it may not be received by all, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be received by some because I put so much care into it,
Yeah.
and the people who know what's what can feel when there's been some heart put into it.
Yes, that's very true. I was afraid to bring out my topic because it was, the speech was just about how to get through college. It was just how to get to college, and I wanted to give him some life hacks. Really, what it was about is I wanted to see if any students in the room were ready to become awakened, because
Yeah.
I'm addicted to helping people become awakened and feel this side of life. Like I've been the last thing I talked about was is the idea that I'm writing for my book too, and it's a word I made up. It's called "tate," basically meaning when you're not in control of your life, something in life's in control of you. And if you don't become aware of these things, then they have the best of you.
Hmm.
And the moment you become aware of them, you can you can use them and not be used by them. And I was afraid to bring out that conversation. I sat there and I knew I had to bring in a story to grab their attention, because the reality is, if you have an audience that doesn't know about you and they're in there for just extra credit, most likely the ears aren't open. So you have to open their ears. So I told them about an event in high school. I told them that when I was in high school, I got jumped, I got beat up, and I remember that really taking its toll over me. Like, it controlled majority of my teenage life. I didn't want to be around him, but I couldn't enjoy life. I couldn't eat. I couldn't focus in class. I couldn't learn. It stopped my growth. And only when I became conscious and I became aware that I was able to free myself from that bond. And from that, I became aware of these three stages, you know, and this is like the key concepts in my book that I'm writing too. The first stage is the surprise. Life is full of surprises, right? It we you might wake up today and for a teenager, okay, you're surprised that this girl didn't like you. Boom, that's the shock. Puts into the second stage. I call it the cocoon stage, the most important stage. It wraps
Hmm.
you up now. Now you can't focus, and you're sitting with this thought, this event, and it's wrapping you up. For me, it was being jumped. When I got jumped, I remember it just wrapped me up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this endless defeat's playing in my head. I gotta get him back. I gotta get him back. And nothing was happening. I couldn't move forward. I couldn't learn. I couldn't grow to become the person I needed to be.
Hmm.
And it took me to the third stage, which was being taken. I was taken away from my life. I'd act miserable. I'd hurt my family members out of it. Instead of
Hmm.
growing from it, I became I stopped my growth from it. I became self-destructing, and only when I became aware of those three stages did was I able to take back my life. And big examples of that be like Oprah Winfrey. We all know the good girl gone bad stories. We probably have friends that we knew that they were good girls, and then they got moments where life life hit them with an uppercut, and they didn't know how to bounce back from that, and they went under the rug with it. Same thing happened with Oprah Winfrey. She got raped. She that being molested really flipped everything for her, and then
Hmm.
having a kid too, and then losing that kid flipped everything for her too. And it took her father to get her out of her cocoon. Her father told her, "You better grow up and do something with your life, or else this is it for you, girl."
Yeah.
And then instead of going down the good girl gone bad route, she bounced back from it, and look who she became today. We all know who Oprah Winfrey is today.
Yeah.
Being able to be not being underpowered by it, but to be empowered by it.
Hmm.
That's where that's when you can see the miracle of when life's not happening against you and it's happening for you. Boom, you unlock the miracle and you're not sinning anymore. And that was that was why I was afraid of. That might have been a little bit too information heavy when I was speaking to the group, to the kids, and I remember telling that to I gave that same speech to my girlfriend, my mom. They're like, no, nobody ain't ready for that. Nobody wants to hear that. You gotta tell something else. I packaged it shorter, but I gave it to you in its details. But
Hmm.
I packaged it shorter, and you know they they had to write about it and give it back to the professor because one of the professors, uh, his name is Carlos Martinez. I have big respects for him. He's another person in my life I call one of my 20% that came into my life and they saw something in me and said, you gotta go do this. I will help you out. And he had the kids write down what they learned from me, and it's amazing to read when they get it, when they get their own epiphanies from it too.
Hmm.
And being able to read that and understand that, oh man, the message does work. You just gotta keep doing it, man. And don't listen to people who aren't trying to help you develop it. I mean, well,
Oh, yeah.
listen to them, but then don't let it take over you.
Yeah, pretty much, man. That's just kind of what I was writing about, man. I was like in one of these books, I was saying like you don't have to let everybody in on what you're doing. Like if they're not a part of the team,
Hmm.
don't feel obligated to just go around telling people. Um, Mainly, one of the reasons was what I said earlier. I mean, you can get shot down by people who just don't see your vision. It's so easy. You make yourself vulnerable and all of that, man. You got yourself so hyped up about it, yourself, self motivated yourself, and
Hmm.
the ideas just seem so vivid. But one, you don't want to leave any room for doubt, because somebody can just be like, yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah.
or it's just something dry like that, or they can just flat out tell you it's not going to work, or they'll just put that doubt in you by saying you don't have this and you don't have that to make it happen, and then you really question to the point where it's just like, okay, well, yeah, I guess you're right. So the thing about me is I just kind of do something and I have it done before the critics can even say anything about it. So at least they'll be talking about a finished product. I don't want any doubt on my way to finishing it because there's already so many bumps in the road. And also, you'll come to find that the people closest to you uh, you may have a habit of not really seeing your potential. They'll always see you as I guess your most memorable traits. Like
Correct.
they'll always see the old you, no matter who you are. So you may often find that a lot of people don't get praise from the people back at home until a bunch of strangers are praising them. It happens all the time, and that's what's happening now. Like even for me, with my small success that I'm getting right now, a lot of my biggest supporters are people I don't even really talk to. Like when it comes to the statuses and when it comes to the books and things like that. Like
Yeah.
people in my family don't really talk to me about my writing, which it can feel a bit lonely because I'm always
Yeah, it's
around
discouraging, man.
them.
It's super
Yeah,
discouraging.
absolutely, man. And this is like my life, man. So like when everyone's talking about work here, work there, or talking about basic things like that, all I can really do is think about, man, I gotta write this, I gotta write that, and I can't really share it with anybody because I'm not around any writers. I haven't really formed uh my 20%, or
Yeah.
I'm not really around any writers. I mean, my girlfriend writes, but she's not invested like I am. Because I mean, I consciously decided that this is the life for me, and I can't let anybody who's not on the team talk me out of it. I can't even let people on the team talk me out of writing, because they probably aren't really, and they probably really, they're not really on my team if they're trying to talk me out of something that I put so much love into, so much time and uh, and effort into.
Yeah, exactly, man. So much spirit into it, Eckhart Tolle talks about, inspiration, man. Inspiration. You break that word up. I think he said like it's the Greek word for it is to be in spirit. You're inspired. You're in spirit,
Hmm.
and creativity is all about, you know. Well, I'm sure when you create, when you jumpstart yourself, you're at your most high.
Hmm.
It's like it's hitting you so crazy. The words coming out nice, and it's just like it's like landing clean punches. You're just delivering and delivering and delivering, and it gets you going. And then to share that with someone else that is not prepared for those kind of words or prepared for this kind of event, it could really throw you off track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like calling my son ugly. It's like calling my newborn son ugly.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, and I look at my creations like they are my children. Ironically, sexual energy is like creative energy. So
Mm-hmm.
when you go through that process of creating, man, it's just like you birthed a child. So you become really protective of it. And I was often scared to put it out to the world because I didn't want anybody talking down on my children. Like I don't like that, and I haven't gotten any bad reviews about my writing, thankfully. But I just not really looking forward to the day where people just kind of spit on something I put my heart into, because I don't really look at it like, oh, these are just words put in a certain way. Like, these are my children, and I want the best for them. This came from the pit of me. It was made with love. It was made with, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
with spirit. And I understand everybody isn't going to get it, but
Yeah.
it was made with the best of intentions.
Yeah. That's been the hardest part of me too. I felt like I do feel like if I allowed myself to walk in that realm of fear, I probably would have grew from it faster. Because
Hmm.
my music early on, I was really shy about it. I was really underdeveloped about it, and I realized that if I was more respectful of my own work. See, like with you, I love the fact that you're respectful of your work. I didn't give my respect at all yet. I'd only showed to certain people I that I thought would give it respect, or lie to me to make me feel better about it. When the honest
Yeah.
truth is, some of my early stuff was really real bad garbage. It was it's stuff that I listen to, I laugh about now.
Yeah.
And when I got the harsh criticism too, I understood that, oh man, that's life just giving you hints too, trying to be optimistic with it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you got the drive, but you need to improve on this. So my thing was I could never mix right growing up.
Hmm.
And my mixing was just bad, and rapping was really bad. I could write lyrics, but my rapping was bad. I didn't know about delivery. I didn't know about energy. I didn't know about flow.
Yeah.
I just knew that my heart wanted me to keep going on this process. Just keep doing it. Just keep
Hmm.
doing it, because for some reason you can't stop doing it. Even if you'd like to walk away from it, you're still gonna keep creating. So when it comes to the negativity, I've learned that that's just life. They're out there. That's just a form of communication.
Hmm.
You got to learn to dance with it. You know, that's just a. I don't know if you ever heard about Machiavelli, the philosopher.
No, a little bit. I am a big fan of philosophy.
Yeah, Machiavelli, the prince. He's the reason why I think Donald Trump is our president. If everyone if you guys have ever tried to reading of Machiavelli stuff, he talks about politics in a simple form, which is if you want to win politics, you have to play towards the public. You know, you gotta grab their attention in any form, whether if it's gonna be hatred, as we saw, this was all hatred, and you know, work towards the majority of the public to where it can be in your favor, and that is to lie about these great things that you're gonna do, and then they vote you on, and you go and you do your part. Politics is really ugly, and Machiavelli talks about that's just the society that we live in. You can be the nice guy
Hmm.
the whole way, but if this guy's picking off your weaknesses and you're not fighting back, you're gonna lose.
Yep.
You're gonna lose, and that's just how our society is. That's just for me, in a nutshell, it's just Machiavelli just simply saying this is how you cater to the unconscious.
Hmm.
This is how you get the unconscious to vote for you. You know, and I've learned that that's them. And if you get the ones that really do like your stuff, that are are aligned with you too, with your lyrics or your vision or your writing or your music,
Hmm.
that's all you need. That's all you need. You can't get everybody. Sorry, because
Yeah, absolutely.
like you said, not everyone's going through the same shoes as you. We might have similar themes, similar events that's happened to us, but we're never going to be 100% aligned. Just
Yeah,
not.
absolutely, man. Like if you look at the people at the top of their respective creative fields, there's a lot of people who did some bizarre type things that a lot of people weren't feeling. But that's the Renaissance aspect of it. That's the original aspect of it. If you think like how George R. R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones, is now sitting on top, man.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, this whole type of fantasy world type thing just wasn't imaginable. And of course, J.K. Rowling,
Mm-hmm.
who has so much success now, she took the world by storm because the world had never seen anything like this. So like that's why she got turned down a lot. Cause they like, I don't know about this. I never experienced anything like this, and she just, hit the world in between their noses.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want people to realize is that these people did things their own unique way, and that's how you gotta go about it. You gotta handle problems in your own unique way, talk in your own unique way, write in your own unique way. Everything you do, you got to do in your own unique way. Like hold a pencil the way you want to, or hold a fork the way you want to, and sing the way you want to. All of those things, because they will help define you. They will lead you on your creative path. They will keep you on that creative path, and you'll create unique things as a result. And it's much better than trying to keep up with the fleeting trends.
Yeah. A perfect example of that is like I remember reading Arnold's book. He tried to fix his accent. He Instead of playing off his weakness, he made it a strength. Hey, they're using they're mocking me with my own accent, but I'm getting a lot of attention from it. Hey, it's working out. I don't need to fix my accent. People are actually, it's become a marketing tool for me, so I don't need to fix it anymore, and it's my brand.
Yeah,
Don't lose it. That's something. Those are one of the other epiphanies that I've learned to finally become aware of too. Just like, hey, if it's you, just let it be you. Just don't. Just make sure it doesn't take away from you too much. You know, and if you can give it in a positive aspect, then give it in a positive aspect, because you can't control other people's perspectives of you.
yeah,
You know, I'll have people will always see me as that one person that used to be that that
yeah,
that kid who just he was just there to just steal and fuck up things.
pretty
I
much.
can't do anything to help them change their perspectives on me. I'm sorry. That's that was my mistake at that time. And perception is reality, and they got that perception of me. So they're always gonna have that, and I can't do anything to help them change it. That's gonna be up to them.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, all you can really do is focus on growth. You can't be what everyone expects you to be, what everyone wants you to be. Like so many people look at me, and aside from what people think, but people have said to me like, "You should let me cut your hair," or "When you gonna cut your hair? What you gonna do with that hair?" And I'm like, why can't it just exist? My hair isn't hurting anybody. Or someone would say like, "You would look so much better with a haircut."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm not even all about the vanity at this point, man.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to look a certain way to get your type of approval, then I'm damn sure not going to do it. Like that only just strengthens my reason to let my hair do as it pleases, and until I decide I want to cut it or something like that. I'm not trying to look like the next man. Just like when it comes to poetry or something like that, if someone says they prefer poetry like Langston Hughes or something like that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Langston Hughes has some published work, so you go read that. I'm not him.
Yeah.
If you want something like that, just go straight to that.
Mm-hmm. I can
But that's
only
not.
be me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's not what you're going to get from me. You're going to get a bit of rawness. You're going to get some things that are going to challenge you. You can get some things that make you think, but you're definitely going to get me, not what you want to hear. If it's something you like, then so be it. But I can't go around just trying to please people all the while I'm unhappy. If I'm going to be unhappy, I'm going to be unhappy being exactly who I am, and not because I decided I wanted to be who everybody wants me to be.
Yeah. That's really tough. It's been one of my personal struggles in the beginning because I allowed that to become noise for me. You know,
Yeah.
noise. Just I think that's just that's that's a theme in everybody that once you're able to tame, you can find a lot of peace in it.
Hmm.
Um, I remember my early works that I put on YouTube, my remixes and my original stuff, and I would get criticized really heavily about it, and I remember just sitting with it, saying, man, they're saying I sound like this producer. They said I copied it from this producer, and I would try to change myself. Right, I try to create this new identity, but I would always find myself going back to that same art form,
Yeah.
and it was just it taught me that it's just stop fighting it, just surrender to who you need to be,
Hmm.
not what they want you to be, but who you need to be, where you know that it's your vision of of your creativity, and just go with it, and if they don't like you, then they don't like you. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's okay. Don't relax. We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. I have an extreme, or I had an extreme method that's similar to that.
uh,
So let me just put it out there. So I don't know. I used to struggle with suicidal thoughts and tendencies like that, even when I wasn't really feeling all that depressed.
yeah.
Maybe somewhere in the last 2 weeks, I even had that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Just suicide. But sometimes when I think of suicide, it's kind of along the lines of you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't really recommend this to anybody, but it may help put things in perspective. And I tell myself, like, if all else fails, because with all this doubt, with all this mystery, with all this uncertainty, and what I'm trying to do, if all else fails, I can end this life. And it sounds so bad, but it brings me peace. Like, okay, well,
Mm.
go get it then.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you want it, so go after it. There's at the very worst, or at the very least, or you can be saved one way or another. You can be saved by your dreams, or you can be saved by being put out of your misery.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you even have to be worried about, man? That's
Mm-hmm.
it. So just go after it, man. Go after what you love. Put some life into your life and plant some seeds, man. Because I'm really starting to realize how other people come into play. Now, when you die at your funeral, they're not really talking about what you did for yourself. It's always, man, he did this for me, he did that for me. So there's some clues there.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do for the people? And I realize when you do things for people, you kind of lose sight of what's going on in your life as far as the negatives go.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to be really fixated on the negatives when you're doing something positive for others and they appreciate you. So there's some power there, but so when you start to lose that selfish feeling of me, and oh, and woe is me, and all this and that, and you start focusing on others, you start to feel some power there, and you can put that as a part of your purpose. If you're ever looking for purpose, uh, try to see what you can do for other people. Try to incorporate people into your goals. Like I'm writing. I wrote poetry, but I'm also writing self helps too.
Mm-hmm.
And although I convinced myself that I'm also writing this for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think it can help people just like my first self help did. And I've gotten responses saying thank you for this. I couldn't stop reading it. It was perfect for me and all this and that, and things like that give you the type of feedback. It's called feedback analysis that you need to know that you're in the right direction, and it's always circled around
Yeah.
uh, what you can do for others.
Yes, yes, yes. You definitely need those, man. You definitely need those. Those were definitely life's way of indicating that you're doing the right thing. You're definitely doing the right thing, and I agree 100% with you when it comes to um, learning to become selfless and to be for people,
Yeah.
to be for something bigger than yourself. Um, I volunteer every other Friday to go help out my the nonprofit that I'm volunteering for, which was LearnSteam.org. Those guys over there, I do it not because, there's a fine line when it's ego too. When your ego wants to go out and help people, and want to get recognition for it. I know I have some of that in me, but on a conscious level, I know what it does for me. It actually really does a lot of healing for me, because when I'm not in an environment like that, I see myself being dragged into simply an unconscious form, where I'm not in the state of flow, where I'm able to be creative and do things that I want to do,
Yeah.
and that come out really nice, or where I can feel. And every time I go and do these, when I go to those events, I get this sense of feeling, okay, now I'm back on track. I'm back in flow again. I know what I need to do. I know, you get your intuition becomes strong again. Like, okay, now you gain more insights on your self awareness, or your self control, or your consciousness,
Mhm.
and at the same time, you're able to uh, get yourself out from being too much from the dark. I call it the dark side. It's
Mhm.
just a great way to rebalance yourself simply, because I understand, for me personally, when I do a lot of selfish things, it puts me down on the wrong side of the coin. In order to balance myself, I have to go and do something that I know that won't be attractive to my mind at first, but once I get there, and the good is being put out, the balance comes back. The state of flow that comes back to me, the intuition becomes strong again, and you can start getting a sense of where you need to go again. You know, instead of feeling
Mhm.
that sense of being lost, because I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling the most, when I have no idea what I need to do, my next move needs to be, and it drives me insane. It drives me insane, and I realize that um, I mean, that's usually an indication for me. Okay, I gotta go help out people. I gotta go do something selfless.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's a good way to get yourself out of any rut. I mean, it's kind of hard to think that as an initial thought because you're so caught up in your head of what's going on with you. But like, if you ever found yourself in those moments where you may be scrolling on Facebook or something, and then you see videos of maybe somebody missing a ligament or someone drinking dirty water or something like that, it kind of helps you get a better appreciation for your life. You know, it
For
may
sure.
make you, yeah, it may make you want to look out for someone. Just put a little more consciousness and into the things you do, and try to bring some type of clarity to the way that you feel,
Yeah.
and you
That's
start to realize that you're not the only one in this world.
yeah. That's perfectly well said. It just clears out the bullshit you have in your head that's been swimming around,
Yeah,
and it allows you to get back into clean perspective. Clean perspective. Um, I know when I went to Thailand, we went to go visit the orphanage that we went over there for. It was unexpected. We went there and I had no idea. Okay, so being conscious, right? This is one of the it from the unconsciousness. It might feel like a con, but you see the pros right afterwards. I was getting when we were in the car. Oh, we're almost there. My head is just like it's just gonna be a bunch of kids who are just orphans. That's all. My ego was trying to rob me of the moment. It was trying to, always trying to steal my moments. And I, when we got there, I did not expect the energy and the emotions I was gonna get when we landed there. I mean, when I seen the kids, because that really cut so much of my ego out when I got there, and it put so much more consciousness in me, like my awareness of these kids' perspectives in lives.
yeah,
It put in so much light, so much light. And if I had to use a analogy, so much light into my darkness that was covering my life, and being able to see these kids, it completely shifted my consciousness to a whole different level, to where I felt like I felt guilty. I felt even more guiltier the way I've been living, because you know you 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 there's a term in psychology called terminal uniqueness, where you believe that what you're experiencing inside of you is unique to yourself. What you were saying earlier, your own personal story, right? Your own
yeah,
personal defeats. Going back to the quote that we started off with: since any life, when viewed from inside, is simply a series of defeats. Those defeats didn't feel that bad anymore after seeing those kids. And I was just, those kids helped me feel even more lighter. And it made me feel more selfish and more stupid, but in a good way, to where it purged it. To where I can have an honest smile. Like, shit, man, life ain't that bad.
yeah.
It ain't that bad. And even seeing those kids there, they were able to joke with me and you know give me a sense that, hey, even though we're orphans, it's okay too. Don't look at me like that, man. Don't pity me.
Yeah, well put, man. So those are some resilient people.
Yeah, yeah, it is, man. It's just it still blows my mind. I just it's one of those things in your life that you're surprised that it happened. You're surprised of what came out of it. You didn't expect those things. Those are just the good blind sides.
Yeah, man. But it's like a good character in a book or a television series or movie. You know, main character has got to have purpose. It's the purpose that keeps you going. You
Yeah.
know, like when someone has their first child, they have this added purpose, this obligation, this responsibility to take on, and it gives you life. You know, it gives you that determination, that faith that you need to push. It's your why.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the reason why I think we're just out here just aimlessly doing things and feeling lost is because we not only have we I mean we haven't established the why to have something to turn to when things get heavy, when things get well, yeah, when things get too heavy and hard, hard to deal with. We have nothing to fall back on, like, because as a writer, you really need to know why you're doing this, because there is so much room for doubt, and I mean so much. You can write something that can be a complete dud, or you can write something that won't get too many reads, and I've experienced it. But my
Yeah, me
why
too.
is Yeah, but my why is just kind of always the same, man. I have a story to tell. I meant to do it in my own unique way. I love to help people, and this is just what I love. This was what I love to do, and I couldn't picture myself really doing to anything else, man. Especially if it's not all that creative. If I feel like I'm not, like the sole creator of it.
Yeah. Well, I like to end this little podcast that was going back to the roots of spiritual. Hopefully, those of you guys who are listening found the stuff that me and Milo were talking about interesting. And if you guys are on the spiritual path too, and you're alone, I just want to remind you that don't worry, it's gonna get a lot better, and it's asking you to become just to suffer just a little bit more, because suffering is not really too bad if you understand in the context of it as it being a muscle, right? Muscles suffer to grow, all right.
Yeah,
And when I was experiencing that crazy the first couple of stages of going to the shift of being conscious, from being unconscious to conscious, it was miserable, but I understood exactly why it was happening, because it was preparing me for the bigger things that are going to come along,
yeah,
and how much I've needed to how much I needed to grow to catch up. So if it's getting tough, just become aware of it, understand it for what it is. It's adding to you, okay, not subtracting for you. It's always adding to you. And when you're able to become aware of that, you'll find the peace that it'll give you too. You'll be able to find the gift that it'll give to you, and what it'll do is it'll be the foundation for the next one and the next one and the next one, and you'll appreciate it so much, because conscious living is phenomenal. If you guys are already there and you guys are ahead, please let us know what you're experiencing. All I know now is that my bad days don't last that long anymore.
yeah,
You know, uh, I'm able to I'm able to feel stress less more. The only time I stress is when they're like good stress, when I'm like trying to be creative. I have writer's block or music, or creative blocks.
yeah.
Any advice or support you want to give out, Milo?
Oh yeah, of course. I to this day I do things to make sure I can strengthen my consciousness, keep it solid, keep it firm. And some of the things I do, of course, it's the meditation, it's the journaling, it's
Yeah,
the I bet
journaling key. Yeah,
yeah,
always.
journaling. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
every day. I've been fasting for almost a year. It really helps me with my focus, my energy, my creativity, all of that. I had a
Mm-hmm.
big jump since I started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the cold showers, building that willpower, making sense of it all.
Yeah, cold
Um,
showers, man, for sure, man.
yeah, I only, like I told you, I only take cold showers now.
Mm-hmm.
I want the discomfort, I want the health benefits, and I want to be able to to build my willpower, and I could go on and on about that. And lastly, um, a great exercise for consciousness is playing chess. I got to play a couple games of chess every day,
Mm.
and you'll know soon enough if you're off your game, if you're not being too conscious, because you'll make an unconscious move and you can pay for it. And such is life. You know,
That's so
they
funny. Wow. Keep going. Keep going. I got
yeah,
something to share with that too.
because they say life is chess, but I think a lot of people don't really understand. I think it's being repeated by people who don't actually play chess. Because in the game, one false move could kill you, and such is life. And one unconscious false move can kill you. That is.
Yeah. You know, uh, it's in context of what you're just saying right now. You know, you find your place where you can practice your spirituality at an intense level. This might not be like the obvious one for people, but for me, it's trading stocks
Yeah.
because I know I'm able to make a return when I'm most conscious about it. When I'm unconscious about it, and I'm just like gambling, I'm just trying to get into something and then sell out. I usually get hurt really bad, and when I get hurt really bad, you know, I get to experience my own suffering that I bring to myself. And I just found it interesting that you said that, you know, your spiritual practice, a way for you to your gym. I call it your spiritual gym, even though it's open 24/7. Everybody's spiritual gym is open 24/7. Where you like to train is in chess. For me, it's in stocks. I just found it. What a great connection and what a great alignment that we have when it comes to finding your own spiritual gym. You know.
Yeah.
So, uh, I hope you guys found this interesting. This is a topic that we probably can go on forever with, as
Yeah.
it is a never-ending one. And any last words? You guys want to check out Miles' work, guys? I'll leave a link down there in the description. Check it out. I'll give you the link to his Amazon page. I think you're giving out some of them for free, aren't you, at the moment?
Yeah, but it's only one being given out for free because it's like a 5 day thing that Kindle allows me to do. So they just go back to 99 cents, and the paperback version is 4.99. I have right now. I have three poetry books that I released this year, and I still have a self help, and then I have hopefully one poetry book tomorrow released,
Yeah,
and
look, you're killing it, man. Milo,
yeah.
you're making me accountable of mine. I've been writing mine for like 10 years and I haven't even finished it.
Yeah, just do it, man. I give you a couple tips because I got like two self helps coming out next week too as well.
Yeah, look at you,
But
man. You're pushing it. I like that, man.
I have to like. Oh, I remember something you told me before. Like I commented on the picture. I called you a nerd,
Uh
and
huh.
you. I was joking, of course, but
Yeah. Uh
you was like
huh.
like he's basically saying like life is too expensive not to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That's I'm glad we're able to take the grind from each other. You know.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you allow me to become accountable of what I need to do too. So it's good. It's good. We're transforming the 80 to the 20. You know.
Yep.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Leave it down. If you guys found something really interesting, please give us a comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this, we'll do more of it, and subscribe to us. And Milo, do you got a YouTube channel that I can link them to too?
No, I don't. I'm not doing anything with YouTube just yet, but I think I should.
And I think you should too. I think you should just voice out some of your speeches, man, because the reason why I started doing them was this guy said, "Stop being selfish. People can benefit from your stories. So stop being
Hmm.
selfish and tell them."
Yeah.
And that was it for me. I'm like, okay, you're right. I gotta start doing them too. So I hope you guys enjoy this. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you guys real soon.